Welcome to the BOLO Podcast, where we bring you insightful discussions on all things related to Black business, leadership and current affairs. Proudly brought to you in association with Camden Council, our aim is to shed light on matters concerning London, the UK and their impact across the diaspora. Join us as we delve into the inspiring stories of the people on the ground, creating dreams and seizing opportunities, paving the way for a brighter future. We also engage with decision makers who play a vital role in shaping policies, ensuring a conducive environment for the growth and success of Black business. Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected, stay informed, and together, let's make a difference. My name's Alex M.A. Gapo. I am co-founder of BOLO, and we have...
For the sake of those who may have not seen the episode yet, I am co-founder Martin Wilson, and this is Black Owned Podcast. I'll leave it there because I'm the least important person here.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm Eva Sonaike. I'm the creative director and founder of Eva Sonaike. I run a London-based interiors and interior textile company with luxury African and design elements. Been running the business for 15 years, and yeah, I've got a lot of experience when it comes to African Black-owned businesses.
Amazing.
Hi, I'm Ogaga Blessing. I am a creative entrepreneur and multidisciplinary creative. I kind of operate in various spaces within the creative industry, predominantly photography, event production, stills and moving image production as well.
Amazing. At the beginning of the podcast, we always allow people to talk through their journey. Your stories are important. They shine a light on the possibilities within your sector, as well as give everyone an opportunity to understand exactly how you've created your business, your path, and it's going to be a great honor to hear how it is that you've managed to develop to where you are today. So we'll kick off with Blessing first.
Me first? Yeah. Okay, my journey.
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay. So I actually fell into what I'm doing now accidentally, I would say. I was one of those people that didn't really know what they wanted to do. I studied international business for my undergrad, and whilst, everyone was kind of trying to figure out what they were going to do post-university, everyone was, saying finance and banking and all of this, and I just thought, oh my God, like that sounds like hell to me, working in those spaces. I've always been a creative at heart, but I didn't really have a practice then. And so in just, figuring out what I wanted to do, I'd already kind of started photography, like just as a hobby whilst at university. And people kind of took interest in what I was doing. And so I'd get booked for stuff, or I'd assist photographers whilst studying and doing other stuff. So yeah, I fell into photography just from it being a hobby and then kind of going into it more professionally post-university. So initially I actually wanted to just create a portfolio that supported my applications for roles within like marketing and PR, because I thought, those would suit me more so than financial jobs or, just things that I just wasn't interested in. So I just wanted to create a little portfolio, and like that was, going to supplement my applications and make me stand out and be more interesting. And in doing that, I kind of took like 8 months of just kind of learning how to shoot properly and build like a solid portfolio. And from there, I was posting stuff, people were interested, started booking me for stuff, and I kind of like properly fell into it, I would say in 2019. And yeah, through that, also, I was shooting myself, but I was also assisting a lot of like big name photographers, and I'd be on set and I'd see like these people like in the corners of sets, like on their laptop doing like what I presume to be very important things. Like who is that? And I come to find out that they were producers. And I was like, that seems like something I can do. And I looked into it. I tried to like get roles within production. That didn't really work out for me. And so I said, I'm not going to wait for someone to give me a job. And I started my own creative production agency. And how I got my sort of first clients was just the clients that I had from photography. I'd reach out to them and I'd say, hey, I'm doing this now. So do you need anything? So the thing I do most within my production agency currently, because I'm still waiting to like scale and, you know, do more things, is art buying, which is essentially commissioning photographers and videographers for jobs. So my photography clients that I had, I just reach out to them and say, hey, I've got a network of amazing photographers, videographers. Who do you need? What do you need? And from then on, like, I kind of run with it. So yeah, currently I still shoot. I love shooting, but I have a bigger vision for, like, you know, what I want to do. I think the creative production agency is quite great in terms of my academic background, with the mix of my creative background, like my creative experience. And I think I kind of fall in just a nice space where I understand what the both needs. So I know what a creative would need for a job, like what are their challenges, things of that nature. And I also know how to, you know, be more business minded and, you know, advocate for my freelancers for jobs and liaise between both client expectations and freelancers' expectations. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks for sharing that. And Eva.
So my story, I think we have to go back to the beginning. I was born and raised in Germany by Nigerian parents, had a really idyllic childhood, grew up there. I was always a child who knew exactly what I wanted. So I, back then was dancing, I was really good. I was really good at classical ballet. So I wanted to become a classical ballerina. Pursued that quite intensively with scholarships and everything until I I had a knee injury when I was 17 and had to stop dancing abruptly. And my parents always, thank God, said have a plan B. And I think everybody thought I would become an interior designer because from a very early age, I was obsessed with interiors, everything in our house. I had a doll's house. I was putting little things into place using my mother's Ankara and the dresses to make bed sheets, etc. But I was also very good at writing. I always had a creative mind. So I decided I wanted to become a journalist. And I had this dream and this vision of living in a big city somewhere, either London, New York, LA, and, you know, working as a fashion journalist, as a reporter. So that's what I wanted to do. I moved to London after my A levels and pursued that radically. And I think in my early 20s, I got a job for the biggest German publishing house, being the London and the UK fashion editor. So I basically had this dream job relatively from the beginning. I then also got a job in TV productions. I worked as a TV producer from London, New York, and Paris. So I traveled a lot. I speak fluent French and English, obviously, and German. So that all came in very handy. And I think I was living my dream in my mid-20s in terms of my career. But something deep inside always said, this is not really what you want to do with your life. But, you know, I thought, like, to be honest with you, it's absolutely great. People were like oohing and eyeing, seeing me at Burberry shows in the first row, etc. And I then had my son, who's now 16. And I think that was like a turning point in my career. My husband and me, I'm a good Nigerian girl, so I moved in after the wedding. So moved from my beautiful West London apartment to my husband's bachelor pad in the Docklands. And as I liked interior design, I was not happy with the decor at all. So I changed everything around. And he had the furniture, which I couldn't chuck out, but I wanted to create soft furnishing. So I went to the market, bought Ankara and all colorways and designs, and found a small kind of factory manufacturing in East London to make some cushions for me. So put the cushions in the house, and they looked phenomenal. And everyone who came said, it looks really, really beautiful. So in my maternity leave, 6 months I decided to start a little side hustle. Thought Eva Sonaike is a nice name, make some cushions and, for friends, family. Whilst I was producing at this little kind of manufacturer in East London, a buyer from Liberty, not from Selfridges, came by. saw the cushions, contacted me, and I think in the second season when I was out there, my cushions were in Selfridges. So that
Incredible.
was the
Incredible.
entrance into what I was doing. I went back to my fashion job, worked for another 2 years whilst running the side hustle, and it grew and grew. Selfridges came on board, Liberty came on board, Fennec came on board. I started to get international clients because that was all by word of mouth. And I then had to make the decision, what do I really want to do with my life? Do I want to pursue my career in fashion, work as a fashion editor, or do I want to bite the bullet and jump into the cold water and launch my company? And it was a no-brainer for me. I said, I can do it, not knowing what I was doing, to be honest with you, because I didn't have a clue what was ahead of me. And in 2011, I jumped into the cold water and made the decision, set up the company, went from being in all department stores in London to being nowhere, because it goes in and out. And I think the trend changed and it became all very floral, very English. So very soon I was out, but I knew that I had a vision. So I started to create my own designs. I started to design my own textiles, not rely on Ankara, but using my own African-inspired designs, which I do until today. And I think the rest is history. I think we can now hopefully proudly say that I think I'm one of the leading African-inspired interior brands in the premium market globally. We are represented in 5 continents. I've got showrooms in the US and Australia, Middle East, France. We're working with interior design firms from small residential firms to big hospitality firms, creating hotels, residential interiors. And I have the products, which I love the most. So I design the fabrics, we manufacture cushions, rugs, wallpapers, furnishings, lampshades. The majority of products are made here in London and are sold globally. And what I think it's really important to say, which we also touched on earlier, it's a profitable business, which is really important to see that if you have a dream and you have a vision, and I had a very, very clear vision that everything I will do, all my designs, my aesthetic, my narrative is all African inspired, specifically are targeting the premium market, the luxury interior design market, because there was nothing black owned kind of qualitative luxury in the market. And I'm still, unfortunately, to a certain extent, there are not many others. But I think hopefully people have seen what myself and my team are doing and taking inspiration from it. I love what I'm doing, and I'm really, really blessed to be able to, first of all, do what I love, but also putting my interpretation of the African narrative on a global network to be presented globally and to be recognized globally.
Incredible. Incredible. So much that can be dove into from what both of you said. And I think there's something that we're definitely seeing across the board with all of these podcasts that I actually want to dive back into. And it's the question of, there was a moment where you were working your day job and the side hustle was happening. What were the difficulties or the wins in that particular period? Because what we definitely want to make people aware of is that initial part of trying to create this dream, but having to deal with reality at the same time. And how do you navigate that space mentally? How do you create the physical time to do it? And so, you're in this incredible space now, so many accomplishments, so many achievements. What was it like in that period there where you were juggling the two?
First of all, I don't think I even realized how challenging it was back then, because first of all, my passion was so strong that I knew exactly what I wanted to do, what I saw, and also I was quite strong in manifesting. I believe in God. I knew that God had a plan for me, but I think also I really clearly saw where this was going. So that literally, first of all, kind of made it easier. And then you have to have stamina. You have to have real stamina. I had little kids back then, newborns. I had a full-time or like a 4-day-a-week job, a big new house, which we moved just into, and a new company. And I think my belief in what I wanted to do, my passion really gave me the strength and the stamina to do it. On a more realistic basis, you basically have to work 24/7. I was I took my day job serious because I didn't know at this time that, I would leave it or whatever. So I knew I had to be serious about it. So in my lunch break, I would write emails or, like do a quick phone call on my phone to someone. Evening after work, I would come home, put the kids to bed. You work late. In the beginning, now I'm at a stage where I take evenings and weekends off because I can. But back then, you have to give it all. But also, I think having a real open mind and learning, whatever you do in your day job, whatever I did, be it my TV career, my fashion career, everything I utilized to learn from, which I still now apply to what I'm doing. So I was really open in learning and taking as much in as I could, seeing how press releases were written, what did people do, how did great photo shoots look like, so that I understood and could apply that to myself. So being open and being really, really hard on yourself, and have a good time management skills and work until you are ready to step out.
Amazing. And Blessing, in your multifaceted current situation, how are you navigating all of these different elements, and how are you navigating? Obviously, there's some areas that will be growing and active at some points and dormant, and where are you prioritizing and how are you finding that?
Yeah, so I'm very early in my entrepreneurship career. So finding that, sorry, finding that balance, or trying to, I guess, prioritize. It's been difficult. I think last year was really difficult. This year has been a lot easier for me. I hope I'm understanding your question properly.
If I might, what actually one of the things I
Yeah.
say, your answer fine.
Mhm.
I think for me, I wanted to understand how the scene the industry looks for you, because the one thing you said to me was like, I wasn't going to wait for someone to give me
Right.
the job, right? And how have you found that as someone who has entered the game, you've entered the game effectively at a very sort of strange times, COVID took
Right.
place and the rest of it. So for me, I'm like, in terms of opportunities and the way things are going, how have you found that in terms of, is the industry, because people say the creative industry is growing 5 times larger than most other industries, but how you find that for yourself, someone actually in it, what does that really look like for you? Are the opportunities massive and wide? Are they saturated? What puts you over someone else? Where does the help come from? Where does the hindrance come from? Like that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think because I occupy the space in multiple ways as a creative and also as a business person. So my experiences with that is very different both ways. So I'll answer, as a photographer, working in the creative industry, I had to, especially as someone who did not study it, like I'm self-taught, like I don't know anyone in the creative industry before I started. I had to be really quick with like learning. Like I had to figure out, okay, this is how people get jobs. This is what, like, you pitch, you do this, you do that. And I think what has helped me was like just networking and this is gonna sound so dumb, but like just Googling. Like I literally just Googled, like, because I figured that there must be, I figured that there must be like organizations that exist for freelancers that would kind of already have that network of opportunities available. So like I don't have to go out and like look for everyone. I mean, I do that as well, like through pitching, through like to organizations that or like companies I'd want to like shoot for. That's one way. But there must be someone who's already done that. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, where can I go to have access to people's networks? And I found this company that I primarily work for photography, aside from like doing my own thing. And so they obviously have a lot of money, they have a lot of investors, venture capitalists and all of that invest a lot in their marketing and advertising. So I don't have to do that. I don't have to, right? So I have access to them. So I work for them as an in-house photographer. And so they find the people for me, mostly for that. So that's one way. And then, of course, as I said, like, I do my own thing of, like, you know, being in the right places to meet people who would need my services. So yeah, with photography, that's my route and how I've went on about it. I get this question a lot from photographers, like, how do you find clients? How do you do this? Because it is really difficult, especially with pitching. You know, sometimes they might, you could pitch something and they don't need you in that moment, but they might need you in like 6 months. But it's nice that you've put yourself out there to be memorable for them to come back to. But yeah, with my creative agency, finding opportunities is difficult actually, and it's still something that I'm obviously still learning. I'm very new to this, but I've made use of like things like LinkedIn. That's been actually quite huge, and I think that they've made such a huge effort as well to like push creatives, mostly with I think they've got initiatives to like, you know, make creatives use the platform a lot more, because it makes it accessible to reach out to producers and you know, heads of production of certain, you know, organizations. So you just reach out to them and say, hey, you know, and if it lands, it lands. If it doesn't, like, at least you're in their peripheral for, you know, if something comes up. But also like just my network, like people that I know, reaching out to them, hey, you know, do you need this? Do you need that? And yeah, word of mouth has really been helpful as well for me.
Big one.
Yeah. So I hope I answered that.
That was perfect.
Okay.
Fine. Do you guys find, questions for both of you as well, do you find, how do you find things have changed? I know you may feel like maybe not much has changed, but generally things like when, you know, now we're dealing with lots of financial issues at the moment, cost of living, we had COVID a few years back. How have you found those things impact your ability to do the things that you guys are doing? So not just on a simple, you know, do people have less money, but does it change people's ways, habits, how businesses interact with yourselves, how clients interact with yourselves? Do you find yourselves having to make adjustments, such as things from pricing to the level of service you give, how you, or maybe you restructure what you're trying to offer in that sense? So whoever wants to go first is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the last few years have been a total roller coaster, because we had obviously George Floyd, which I'm going to start with. Then we had the pandemic, and now we have the economic crisis. So it has been, before everything was like steadily on a, it went up and business, grew. Then the pandemic hit. And I, first of all, I thought we're going to go bankrupt. So I put all my staff on furlough and was thinking, what can I do? Should I start coaching or whatever? And my business pivoted like it never pivoted before, because suddenly people had money to invest in their homes. And it went literally, never had such a great time. Then George Floyd came, where suddenly the highlight was on a lot of Black businesses. And I have to say, I have been very, very fortunate and blessed before that. We have always had press. We've always been in the spotlight. We have been in great stores. But suddenly it went even more manic, because suddenly all eyes were on us, and all eyes were on me as a designer. And as I think there are not many in my industry, it was suddenly gone, I mean, totally, I would say crazy, because, and I say that with a slight hesitation, because it was because suddenly, we were in the spotlight. We've been there before. Lots of people have been there decades before me doing what I'm doing, and suddenly we're seen, we're there. And then the economic downturn now has an effect on my business, on sales for sure. But I am a strong believer that as a business owner and entrepreneur, you always have to grow. You always have to develop. So I'm utilizing this time to do the things I normally don't have time for in the business. So I'm looking at kind of strategic growth. What can we do to change things? Obviously, if we're busy with the day-to-day running of the business, where I'm involved as well, my time is limited. But now I have a little bit more time, which I use, I'm thinking long-term strategies to put out there. Customer service will never change because we're always trying to be our best or only improve. I can think about my team. How can I grow and encourage my team to, be more effective and more strategic in their approach. So I think the last few years have been extremely an extreme roller coaster. But I think everything is exciting. Everything has its own benefits, and I'm excited about the future to see what comes and what we learned. And you always have to learn. And I think that's really important. You always have to be open to learn. And what you said earlier as well, Blessing, is so important, that I'm a hustler. I'm a total hustler. I have to hustle every single day. Doesn't matter whether you're at the beginning or you have scaled the business. You have to constantly be on the ball in order to grow this passion you have, and which for me is my living. For you, it's your living. We want to live. We want to pass that what we're generating here onto our future generations. So it's a hustle. I have to constantly be on the ball and seeing how can we grow this, where can we go next. And it's exhausting. I'm not saying it's always not. Sometimes I just want to put my feet up and relax and not have to think about tomorrow what we're going to do. But hey, you know what, do I want it any differently? No, 100% not.
Yeah, I think for me it was coming out during the pandemic. I couldn't do stuff like shoot. So I think as a creative, this is probably how I started becoming a multi-hyphenate more so, was because I had to pivot. So I started to look at what other skills that I had or what other skills I could develop during that time where it was difficult. And I started doing things like retouching, which was not something I offered before. Like, it was something that came as part of my package of photography, but now I'm a retoucher. So and of course, like, I had the skills, I developed the skills, but like now was a time where like, okay, this isn't really working for me right now because of what's going on. Let me figure out how else I can, make money and survive, essentially. So pivoting was big. Could you remind me of my memory?
As I said, maybe other adjustments you were forced to make. Pivoting's a huge one. I think it's really important as well because I think some of us, especially when you're passionate about something, there's purity that you sometimes want. You're like, I wanted to do it this way, and the circumstances don't allow you to do it that way. And the fact that you both talk about, the fact that you've got to keep pivoting to keep the dream alive, as opposed to it's this way or no way. But I was also talking things like maybe how you dealt with people in terms of pricing, in terms of, the vision and the adjustments you made in that purpose as well.
Yeah, pricing definitely changed. It was harder to gauge, like the budget was definitely not there for a lot of stuff. So I think I did have to compromise a little bit at certain times. So I did, based off of, the brief and things of that nature, like I would reduce the pricing, or they'd come to me with a lower budget that I was usually used to. And at certain times, like, I did have to accept that. I don't know if, there are people that would argue against accepting a low budget, but like, everyone's going through it. It's the pandemic, or like, so you have to kind of be understanding of that as well. It's not necessarily that they want to like lowball you or anything. It's just the current situation, and just be mindful of that. Like in any other situation, like, I would not want to accept a lower amount that I think I'm worth, but I don't think it's necessarily wrong if, situation, disallows you to do what you would usually do. But budgets were certainly different for a while. But yeah.
No, that's perfect. And just within that, for both of you quickly as well, just a little add-on. Do you feel like you've ever undervalued yourselves?
Yeah.
And where do you draw the line as well for when you're, as you said, making an adjustment to the current circumstance versus I'm undervaluing myself?
I think in the beginning I undervalued myself, but that was just because of lack of information of like what I should value myself as. I think as a creative or a photographer, whatever space you occupy within a creative space, it's quite hard to know like what the rate is like. And I find that now on the other end as a business owner and now commissioning creatives, I usually ask them, hey, you know, what's your rate for this kind of job? And I find that a lot of people lowball themselves, especially because the client will come to me with a budget for what they have in mind. And I see how people just lack information of like what this kind of job requires, like what, you know? And I am that kind of business person that I like to think that I have business integrity. So like in those cases, I'm like, no, this is, you know, you're lowballing yourself in this like, you know, and I try to help my freelancers with trying to gauge what they should be charging for certain stuff. So yeah, I've been on both sides of like
Is there a cultural link between that? Not to, you know, I have
I
to
would
ask.
say there's a gender link
Okay.
actually. So what I have noticed is that women tend to lowball themselves a lot more than men. Men are very like, when I, you know, commission men, they're very like, and they stick to their word of how much they want to get paid. Like this is my rate. I'm not moving. Women, I hate to
No,
but it's just what I've
noticed.
it's what I've noticed. Yeah, women they kind of apologetic about, you know, if they think they've charged too much, like, oh my god, like, you know, there's no confidence in like what they stating they want. But with men, I find that they're very, and they kind of have this take it or leave it mentality, which women don't really tend to have. So yeah, I find that in those instances, it's the women that I'm like, hey, no, you're lowballing yourself. Like, let's, yeah,
Okay, that's really interesting.
yeah.
Okay, for me it's slightly different now because I used to undervalue myself in the beginning. I think it's more I didn't have the confidence in myself as also I'm self-taught textile designer. I thought like, I can't reach out to these stores and everything, but that's like more than another lifetime. Right now, I am not undervaluing myself. We have obviously set prices for our product, so that's a no-brainer. But people still come and challenge you. Department stores challenge you, big stores challenge you, individuals challenge you, and I am very clear on where we stand. For example, when it comes to the big players, I'm not going to call any names, big department stores, they have certain pricing policies. If I don't like them and if I don't agree with them, I don't take them anymore, because I'm in a position if, let's say, Barney's comes on board and wants ridiculous pricing terms that I can't meet, then I'll say, I'd rather say no, thank you, and walk away, and no, I can make my money somewhere else. So I'm very clear when it comes to that. But I also have the other side. Sometimes I speak at events or I work as an interior designer. I'm very clear how much Eva Sonaike, that's my name, that's who I am, what I'm worth, and what I'm happy to negotiate. If people reach out to me, sometimes people say, oh, we want you to speak at an event in South Africa. My first email is like, thank you so much, or my PA, thank you so much. What's the budget? And if you don't like the budget, we don't even go any further in the discussions. So, and I think you have to build that confidence. In the beginning, I was like, anything, I would have done it. You know, I was like, yes, sure, I want to be there. I want to do that. But I think you have to be very, very careful not to undervalue, because once you're in there, in pricing negotiations, I'm right now very clear, very confident where we are, who I am, what I expect, and what I need, and what I'm worth. And that's what I'm charged. And I'm in a network with other Black business owners, and we're all on the same page. You pay us for what we're worth, because you wouldn't go to let's say a middle-aged white man and ask him to work for free or do something. No, why should we do it? We have so much knowledge, and if you want us to share the knowledge, then you pay.
That's actually a great segue actually into a question I had around almost how you guys even navigated or even learnt some of the aspects of what you do in terms of what part to play has community and mentorship been within your journey in terms of learning the ropes from a professional standpoint and from kind of maybe even business knowledge?
Should I start?
Yeah, please.
Really interesting, because I, until not too long ago, didn't have a mentor.
Okay.
Which some people call insane, but I have a very strong family.
Yeah.
So I would say mentorship through growing up through my mother, my in-law family, my mother-in-law, aunts, people who I grew up with who were strong, confident business women. So that gave me a real good foundation of doing what I can do today. I had advisors, I had fantastic people who worked with me on, pricing strategy and stuff like that in the beginning through different initiatives, which really helped. But I think it's really important. I'm now in a position where I'm a mentor. And to people, not everyone has that foundation. So for me, it's really important to give aspiring interior designers, aspiring, and textile designers or business women entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, the knowledge that I had. And I think it's a lot of confidence in undervaluing, because society automatically undervalues us. Whatever we're doing, we are often seen as not being in a position. I have this opportunity often when I'm at trade shows or events where I'm the CEO of the company and I have an assistant who may either be fairer skinned than I am or white.
They think.
Clients automatically go to this person and saying, even I had people came to me and they were referred to me and people said, this is not possible. This cannot be either. So this confidence grows, and I'm trying to help other women now. And I specifically want to focus on women when it comes to their business. As you said, as women, we have extra baggage because we are so undervalued. And I think as a Black woman, we are so undervalued. That's really important for us to know, to grow the confidence, who we are, and what we have to give, and that we can be as valuable as anyone else. If not potentially even more valuable.
Absolutely.
I would.
I think as well, the experience is not the same. So it's not to say that a Black man cannot help a Black woman and a Black woman cannot help a Black man, but the experience you guys have
It's different.
Is different. So my head, it makes more sense to have someone who can actually share your experience through and through, trying to help you and mentor you.
Absolutely.
Where you can, obviously, needs must. You know what I mean? It's not to say if you can't find that, don't look for anybody. But I think it's important personally as well. So I understand that. I understand the focus on that.
Yeah, for me, no, I haven't had a mentor. I am looking for one.
Shout out.
That's the opportunity.
Yeah, right. So I think the good thing about me is that I'm like a sponge, right? And so I tend to find myself in situations quite frequently. Like, I'm one of those people that, like, I've had a million jobs, right? And I'm always there, like, temporarily. I don't like to do permanent stuff because I feel like I go in to learn what I need to know and then I'm out because I know what I want long term. And sometimes if you stay somewhere too long, you get comfortable, all of that. Like, I'm not about that. So whether it's from people that I work with, the spaces I'm in, like, I'm literally like soaking it all up as much as I can. And yeah, I think I've managed to have mentorship kind of virtually through like women that I admire who are in business, and kind of following their journeys and yeah, implementing things that I think are useful. But yeah, no, a real life mentor would be very helpful, especially with more so the logistical aspects of business, because I think with what I do, it is mostly personality and selling yourself. And because I mean, if you've got the skills, like, you're good. But, you know, in terms of being in certain spaces and being able to say, hey, I do this thing, and building that like relationship or trust or whatever's needed for you to get that job, that's more so where it lies. But in terms of, as I said, like more so the logistical aspects of business, as I said, I studied international business. I did not learn anything
Really?
logistical about like business. No, like everything was more theoretical. Like it was more like, God, do I even remember what I learned? Like, like it was a very broad degree, which was helpful in terms of just my range of knowledge, I guess. But in terms of actually like how to run a business
On a day-to-day.
on a day-to-day, yeah, I'm learning as I go.
Yeah.
And
That's the best school, I think.
it is,
It's
yeah,
the best school.
it's difficult, but yeah, I'd love if there were more spaces that taught young women coming up about how to handle a lot of these things, that would be super helpful.
We'll get there.
Yeah. I know there's like BYP network and
absolutely.
things like that. Yeah. But I don't know if like they do mentoring much. I'm not sure. But yeah, I would really appreciate that.
Advert has been cast down.
Yeah.
I get that. That's great. No, I think I agree with you though. I think it would be great for these things, but as always with these aspects, that's just what I find is it sounds amazing. We all want these things, but you have to remember that people like yourselves are a small percent of a smaller percent, and so in some respects, it's exactly what we want. But actually, finding that there isn't the numbers that we think exist don't exist necessarily in the way that we think. So it's like, okay, cool. If I want to set up a school tomorrow, how many people could I really find to do such a thing? And actually, that's why I understand why mentorship becomes so huge especially within the Black community, because it's the ability to pair people up, because there isn't necessarily a huge amount of resource of people doing those things to work from. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, we'd occupy universities and all these other things in terms of we'd have whole schools set up with these types of things if there was enough people to do so.
Mm.
But I think I personally want that to be the case
Yes.
in the future. I'm just saying I can understand why it hasn't been the case already. But yeah, it'd be amazing.
Yeah. And I've been, I've only been in business for like 2 years now, but I do get a lot of questions from people, some younger people, even people older than me.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that ask me, hey, like, how did you do this? How did you get here? And I love sharing the knowledge that I've acquired so far. And yeah, I would love to do it on a bigger scale someday, because I do see that a lot of people do need that guidance. Yeah.
Definitely. That's the hope anyway, especially with Black in London.
Yeah.
We want to create platforms that allow for that, all the ease of that, the fluidness of that, so we can have, if everyone knows where to go,
Yeah.
things can happen very easily.
Exactly.
If that happens.
Also in a safe space where you can go, there is a safe space, there will be someone tailored for your needs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's so important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's part of this discussion anyway, in terms of just passing on. This is at its rawest, right? At its rawest, sharing the experience and sharing the mentality and understanding the pathways that are possible. I think what's going to something that's really just stuck with me with both of your stories is this ability to be flexible, malleable, and receiving information. It's it, and I wrote down humble. I wrote down humble, and I just want to touch on that a second, just to kind of, even if that word's relevant for yourselves, but you talked about multiple jobs and always being a sponge, and you talk down at Googling, even though it's just the thing. Like we have like the most powerful apparatus in our hand at all times, and
I Google every day
to demean it. It's like and yourself in terms of working that job and really utilizing all, like it's a big company, it's a mainframe, it's already made. Why are you rewriting remaking the wheel? It's been made, so why wouldn't you? So how important has that been in the different stages? How have you noticed along your journey that you have really directly utilized the experience from other roles, and how important has it been in your journey so far?
I mean, in every aspect, everything I've done. I mean, I didn't even elaborate on everything I've done. I have been a dancer, so I know how to stand, not here slouching, but when I stand at a trade show stand, the posture, from my part-time jobs, from my TV production job, where I learned about, camera operation, producing everything. And I think it's so important when I lecture or mentor, especially younger people, I always say everything that you're learning. So that's why I was a little bit surprised when you said in your business degree, I'm sure the elements in your business degree at some point will come so handy in your life that you will be really grateful to have had this, even if it was theory. I mean, I had to do like a really kind of complex calculation the other day with percentages. And I was never really good at math at school, but All the calculations that come in are really handy for me every day because I have to do calculations. Someone says I have a 17 square meter wall. How much wallpaper do I need to order? I just sit down. It takes me literally like a few minutes to sort it out. But I think everything you learn is really important. I'm grateful for every experience, also the bad experiences, the no's that I've heard, the rejections that I had. Oh my goodness,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? I had more rejections than open doors, 100%. I think everyone who runs a business can vouch for that. That's reality. On Instagram and everywhere, I put everything that is nice. But you mentioned the word humble.
Yeah.
Am I humble? Yes and no. I think
Okay.
you have to be really humble in knowing who you are, where you come from, and be grateful for everything. But on the other hand, I don't know whether that goes hand in hand. You have to hustle like there's
Perfect.
no tomorrow and be impatient and wanting more than you have. I did a major collaboration, I think 2 major collaborations. Can I say? I don't know.
Yeah.
Did a collaboration with Soho Home last year globally, which is a big collab. I did a collab with Joe Malone, London. So big collabs. Amazing. I love it. I'm so grateful for it. Once this is done, what's next? I say to my team, great, whilst we're still shooting or, producing, I tell them we need to move on. So, because growing up in Germany was another thing, people are very humble and sometimes a little bit too humble. And us as Nigerians, Yoruba, maybe humble is not necessarily the right description. So I'm grateful and grounded and appreciative, but I also hustle and I push and I want more. And I want more every day. Even now I want more. And I think it's important to have that drive in order to pivot and grow until it's time to pass it on to the next generation, sell it for multi-millions or whatever you're planning to do. That's I think where I come in.
I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think humble's not necessarily the word that you look for. And I think it's because humility in business don't work very well.
Not necessarily.
But I think what Alex is getting at is more the clearness of mind to understand where you are
Yeah.
and where you want to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not to get caught up in where you want to be versus where you are.
Got
Absolutely.
you.
The,
Okay.
the show that is Instagram.
Yeah.
Good point for that.
Yeah. So I think that's
Absolutely.
more along the lines of the humility aspect.
Yeah.
Because being humble, if anyone watching this right now, being humble in business will not work for you ever, ever.
No.
Well, because all you'll do is pass on your opportunity to someone else.
Right.
Or have regrets.
Me and any of us that have experienced the idea of trying to be too humble, you just end up being disappointed with yourself.
Absolutely.
You don't go, that was such a good thing I did by being so humble, and then
Right.
everyone skipped me. Do you know what I mean? So you do have to be aggressive with it, but I think definitely in that aspect of
But I think keeping your feet on the ground. I know exactly
Yeah.
who I am. I know
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
come from. Whatever
Grounded.
happens, the biggest collaboration comes along, I'm still the same person.
Yeah.
I still, I would never ever. I mean, you have to always know who you are, and where you're coming from, and that's really important. So I think that's it.
No,
Humility is definitely something that I've had to learn. I've been learning. So like there'll be times where for instance, in 2021, I did a huge London Fashion Week show. I produced it. We had like 300 guests. We had an exhibition and a runway show. It was done in St. James's Street, Piccadilly Circus, like huge venue, and my role was very important, of course, as the producer. And then the next week I was an events assistant for a huge fair. So like the difference in like my importance in like what I do, and sometimes I'm like the most important person in the room and other times I'm not. And I had to learn. Can you relate to that?
Yeah.
I have to just and you're just thinking, last week I was doing this one thing. I was doing this one big show.
Culturally, it's hard as well. I
Right.
think you know it's hard.
Right.
Exactly.
So now you guys want me to start doing this.
Yeah, so I find that I'm in especially because I'm still quite very early in my career. So like I find that, there are times where like my experience can lead me to doing the most important thing, but then in other spaces I'm not important at all. And in the times I'm not that important, I'm still like I'm soaking up.
Yes.
I'm still learning.
Yes.
Like, I know I did that big thing last week, but now, like, here, like, you're not bringing that energy, like, of I'm the madame, like, you know, like, you know, now there are people who you need to learn from in this space. So it's certainly something that I'm very familiar with. And it's actually been really good for me, you know, that it's not everywhere, you know, that you're going to be, you know, occupy this presence or this space. And and that doesn't devalue you either, right?
Wonderful.
And that's something I had to learn for sure. And yeah, and I think it's an ongoing learning process as well as you do more things, like, you know. But yeah, that's
No, I
me.
think
With
that's-
humility, my relationship with humility right now.
That's exactly where I was coming from.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be listening to this or watching this, especially aspiring individuals, and they will be caught out by what is the end product that is Instagram and YouTube and all of these things. And there's so many different, we're just learning continuously, hearing the same narrative about, look, there are goals, the beautiful, shiny carrot or diamond that you're working towards. And what happens before then is a melange of different emotions and spaces that you have to navigate to get there. And we need to hear this from multiple voices, because the multiple voices that you're hearing is the end product. And everyone's thinking, all right, yeah, so I just start. And it's millions. It's like that's no. And you know, especially that is such a poignant story, because you will have a stage at some point. If you work hard, you will have a stage. And then you will have to clear up that stage at the end when everyone's left.
Right.
It's just the way it is. So everyone sees the stage, but doesn't see that, you know, they've left at 9 and you're still there at 3 a.m. clearing up, because, you know, budget be budgeting.
Right.
You know,
Producer and cleaner.
Literally.
But it's I think as well, that's the thing is that that point that really hits home for me as well. It's just that you can't be everything to everybody, and I think you do get caught up in that. Like you said, the high of achieving can make you feel like I can smash all these things, and you're like, actually, like you said, that space is just a space to learn, and that space is just a space to learn, and then you can this is you right now. Yes, you're a big deal here, but here and here just learning, and here and here just learning, and never to get caught up in trying to be the most important person in the room at every given situation. I think because I know, yes, we talked about Instagram and the rest of that stuff is we all know that's a problem in terms of people not seeing the process, just the end product. But I think as well, it's like you said, when you take that first step, it's not to suddenly think, I've made it, so therefore everyone should acknowledge me.
Oh, goodness.
And I said, because if you get into that space, I wish you the best, because the amount of slaps you'll take,
I know.
the amount of slaps you'll take, it's not fun. It's not fun, because you're thinking, do you not know? Do you know what I just did?
Yeah.
And these people are like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
it.
I do not know yet.
And the energy you get, the energy drain you have from that moment is it's not worth it. In terms of, if you just focused on what you're focused on, you would leave there happy, fulfilled, and progressing.
Absolutely.
Whereas if people are making you feel small again, it's very draining, because you have to pick yourself back up.
Yeah. And you're just going, like, you're just, what's a good analogy of, like, that up and down,
It's
like,
a seesaw.
yeah, seesaw, right? Like, with your emotions of, like, oh, I'm important here, and then I'm not. And then, like, why would you do, just remain at a stable level throughout,
Like a nice little incline, that's it. Just
right.
That's it. You'll be happy with it. No, I agree.
So in that, just as a little quick one, there is what do you guys do on a daily basis to maintain your balance? What are the rituals, little rituals you do? What are the little thought processes? Is it you know, a lot of people do the whole appreciation, manifestation, different things. What are yours, if you have it?
Yeah. This changes quite a bit depending on, like, what my needs are. Currently I've been in a deep space of gratitude, and like, even just learning the importance of gratitude metaphysically as well as just, you know, so waking up, like, I swear to you, every morning I'm like, I am so grateful to just even be here. You know, things may not be going my way, things that, you know, all of that, but just having that reverence for life, for God, is something that I'm learning. And you know, I try to have a routine as well, because I think that's important, especially as a freelancer or someone that doesn't work on other people's schedules. You work on your own. It's nice to have a bit of structure to your day, because you'd work for yourself. I could wake up at 2 p.m. Like, who's gonna check me?
Your bank.
But right, who's gonna what that? But I mean, I can still get the things that I need done within a specific time frame, to be fair. But I think I wake up at 6 every day. That's just my body clock at this point, which is great. I wake up before my alarm goes off. I try and do like my stretches in the morning. I take my vitamins. Vitamins are so important.
Hey.
Listen, I've been the girls, let me just say on this podcast now, because I like for 2 years, like I was going through a lot, like mentally, and I didn't realize that I was iron deficient. And it really, I didn't even know that there was a relationship between like nutrition, like vitamin deficiency and intake, and things like depression and anxiety, like your gut health. That's also linked to your emotional well-being as well. So I think it's very important to be on top of that as well as like, you know, doing your exercises. Like I tried to go to the gym, it's been a minute, you know, I had to, but like I do I do try it's been a minute, but like I do, you know, try and have these practices, because it is really important, you know. And other stuff, like I try to have like a nice routine on my day, just so I don't feel like just up of the wind, like go anywhere. I do like a level of that, and that's why I choose this career. That flexibility is important to me, but don't take the mic with that.
Flexible
Like
structure.
Still have a bit of, you know. So yeah, I'm still. I wouldn't say that I'm perfect at it. I'm still definitely growing in that path. But yeah, I think it's very important.
Amazing. Eva.
So I am so busy. I mean, understand my life. I've got, I mean, my life is, and sometimes I think like, how am I doing this? I have 2 teenage children who are in puberty. I have both, I mean, full on, amazing. They're older. I have a big house and I'm very house proud. I've got a business, which is not that far away. And I've got a husband who also needs me, and I have myself. So I'm very, very rigid in my routine. I get up a little bit later in the day. I mean, for me, it's 6:30, wake up. I start every day with my prayers. I pray. First of all, also gratitude is so important. Every moment I wake up and I open my eyes and I can see, can feel my toes. I give gratitude, and I have my morning prayers, which I do slavishly. Nothing can disturb me. My kids can't disturb me. My husband can't disturb me, anyone. So I do that. And then my day is quite structured. I try to get to the office relatively early. I work out 5 times a week. Yes, I'm saying that. I'm going to the gym 4 times a week, and I have 1 session with a personal trainer, because it's really important for me where I'm now in my life. I've always done it, not to that extent, but I realized in the last 2 years or so that for me, and I do really quick hits. I do half an hour sessions or something like this, half an hour TRX, some weights, and it really puts me mentally in a different phase. It's so good. I used to work 24/7. I literally, now when I look back, I don't know how I did it with the kids and everyone when they're little, but I worked a lot. By the time I leave the office around 5 or 6, I don't work anymore. I try not to even check emails. In the morning, I don't think I check emails before 8:30 because I don't want to, no emails, no social media. I mean, there are days when I'm like, oh, quickly, but normally I try not to, because this is the time for myself, my me time. My gym time is my me time. My evening time, my husband is, I would say, as busy as I am, if not more busy. He's a barrister. He also is a coach. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he does so many things. So we're both really busy. In the evening, we spend time together. We spend time with the kids, have dinner on a table every night. then we spend sometimes just 15 minutes together, just chatting rubbish, whatever we want to, or whatever, just having this time for ourselves, 15, 20 minutes. I think routines are really important. Healthy nutrition is extremely important. And for me, I can't stress it enough, taking time for yourself. Doing the things I like. When I came here, I mean, the station here was closed. I had a little walk. I looked a little bit like a slightly longer walk. I just walked and enjoyed that walk and looking around and seeing, the trees and seeing the houses. So I think it's really important to have this balance, because I've seen a lot of women again falling very ill recently through burnout, through stress. And I think it has such negative impact that it's really important to find your own balance and stick to it and develop it so that you stick to it on a daily basis.
Fantastic. Wonderful.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think that's both amazing from both of you in that sense. And there was a point I was going to make about the routines. So I was going to say that I think for anyone listening as well, I think someone like me, I love unpredictability in terms of I like rolling with the punches. But what I've learned over life is that is possibly one of the worst ways to. Life has taught me some good lessons.
Okay, you see.
And I can't stress more that there's a naivety when you're young.
Yes.
To think that it's fine, and obviously you have the energy as well when you're young. You can have like poor routines and still have a maximum 100% energy, and I think you think it's going to last forever, and it doesn't. As time goes on, you start to realize that it's taxing on your brain and your body, and you've got to look after yourself. But the routine aspect, I realize how important that actually is, because effectively, yes, we all have 24 hours in a day, but I go, if you actually want to leave that 24 hours feeling fulfilled and not having regrets, you have to have routine, because routine ensures that certain things take place, and you're not leaving today with regrets going into tomorrow.
Exactly.
Whereas if you don't have those routines, you leave yourself an opportunity to feel like, I should have done that, and that little regret regrets are little nasty things they build, because then they can cause you to throw away your routines in aspects of feeling like, well, I haven't had my me time for the last 3-4 days, so now you go looking for it, and then you then maybe damage some good time, useful time with something else by feeling like, well, I deserve my me time now. Whereas actually, if you have your routines, you never put yourself in a position of you never have a deficit to anything in your life, because the routine ensures that you get at least something in at some point. So I think that's the main thing about it. But I think that's because for me, I think that's great. And I think the way you guys set your day out, I think it's unavoidable. Yeah. So if anyone thinks that you can do it another way, or can't. Someone sees someone on Instagram looking like they just wake up and do whatever, all of that's choreographed. All of that's put together, and someone's had to work hard to put that together. So it's anything I can tell, especially young people coming up. I'm like, the routines allow you to actually live the life you're looking for.
Exactly. I think in my business, I wouldn't be where I am right now without a really kind of strict routine. If you don't stick to it, and one other thing I need to add to this, I mean, I personally, I go to bed 10:30, my lights are off. Normally, 10:30, I am, you have to sleep.
You guys are good.
You have to, my men are better, my husband,
You guys are good.
I have to sleep. If I don't sleep, I don't know. Nothing works.
Yeah.
I cannot
can't
get. No, I can't get the day done. So everything I do between 6:30 and 10:30 requires this good night's sleep. It's important.
No, I agree. And it's not to disrespect anyone, but I think the higher you want to go in life, you have to be like that.
Yeah.
Because there's more. People don't understand. The more things you're juggling, or the bigger you are, the more things you juggle. Yeah. The more things you juggle, it means you have to have stricter routines. Otherwise, it doesn't work. But if you have no intention of being sort of a dreamer of achieving massive things, then you can chill. You can wake up whatever time you like.
Yeah. Not everyone has to. Some people are just like absolutely happy chilling.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that's why I say it's not a bad thing, but the reality is if you want
but
that
then
thing,
also,
that crazy thing up here, you have to.
One thing, I have a very good friend of mine. She is also a photographer, funny enough. And I remember we were like hustling and trying to get into Fashion Week before I was in fashion and everything. And she is very established right now. So we went on holiday together, and she works an average of 4 hours a day. She gets up early, she does her meditation, then she goes back to bed. And I was sitting there she was sitting on the pool with the phone, making 10, 15 phone calls. And she is solid. But the only thing is that she worked so hard
in the
that
beginning.
she's now at a position where she can just enjoy the fruit of her labor. That all happened through hard work, routine, dedication, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Then there comes a time when you can chill.
you can chill.
And I'm in a position where I'm not there yet. I can't work 4 hours a day, but I can chill a little bit more. My evenings, my weekends. You know what? If you don't hear from me over the weekends, because I'm not checking my email, because I don't have to. I need to have the time to relax and recharge my batteries.
But you stress. There was a period of time.
Oh, yes.
Where it was 100%,
Oh, yes.
100% of the time.
Monday to Sunday night, yes.
To create.
You've got to put the work. The hours have to get put in.
Yeah.
They have to be put
there's
in.
no two ways about it.
Yeah.
I just think to people, you have to understand, no matter what, if you want to take 50 years to put those hours in, so be it. If you want to put those hours in 5 years, whatever suits anybody, but those hours have to get put in.
And you know, these hours, I mean, I enjoyed these hours. They were not hours of like, oh, I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was my passion. So I think it's nice. If you love something, it's easy to put on the hours, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Incredible. We're heading towards the end of the podcast, but there's a couple of questions that I wanted to put to both of you in regards to, we'll make it succinct in that sense. What do you believe is one of the most important aspects that can be improved upon when giving more access or opportunities for young black people coming up in your particular industry? What would be an element that would really help deliver better opportunities or a better pathway into? If there was one thing, I'm sure there's many things, but you can pick one thing.
What would be?
Can I rephrase?
Yeah,
can
rephrase
I
it. Rephrase it. Yeah,
what would you, coming up in the way that you guys have come up so far, right? What would you have found would have made your lives slightly easier, or would have made things slightly smoother for yourselves, as a woman and as a black person?
Information, maybe like do they call those white papers? I don't know, like just somewhere you go to that has everything you need to know about, you know, because a lot of the things, especially with my industry, is very much if you know, you know. If you know someone who knows, like it's not that easy to. I even had to email someone the other day that I met, like when I first started, about it was kind of like a negotiation question, because I had a magazine reach out to me about publishing a picture of mine, and I had no clue, because usually that's if you're represented, like they deal with that, but if you're a freelancer, like no clue. So I had to email her, and she, you know, luckily, like she, you know, replied to me. But there are people who have no clue, and they are probably lowballing themselves in situations like that because they just have no clue. So I'm lucky to have advisors or people that at least that are a bit more experienced within the industry that I could go to. But I hate that that's the case. Like, why is there no, you know, even Google is not enough sometimes, because it's still very much, especially some stuff are very contextual. Yeah. So like, you could ask Google, but it's going to give you an answer that's too broad. It doesn't get to the heart of like what you need. And that's where like someone who's been there for a while, like they can answer that question. So I don't know.
It sounds like you'd like a stronger network.
Yeah.
Or a more accessible network.
Accessible network.
That allow you to get the knowledge that you want, as opposed to just walking and finding it on your own, if that makes sense. A trusted network. That's the right way to put it.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know how that would be possible. If people would lend their expertise and time for no money to help the young grow.
I think that does exist, though.
It does exist.
Yeah, especially as well if we use other communities, that is a lot of that.
It does exist.
A lot of that. Because if I'm established and you're coming up, I can't perceive you as a threat to myself. Does that make sense? What I want is the continuation. So that when I start to wind down, you start to wind up, and I'd rather pass on everything to yourself. So I think it's possible, but
in a more structured way. That's very informal. Like a place where you literally just pose the questions, and you know that someone who looks like you, has been through the same thing, can actually give you a little. Yeah, I mean, like this same question that I had, I did pose it to a community of like POC. and no one answered me on that chat.
Yeah, I think a forum, because I think when you say that, it's like
Yeah,
a forum.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
A forum is a bit too loose. In
Yeah.
that sense. I think, like I said, that's what like a network is something that's you normally have not necessarily bought money wise, but you've bought into through time, whatever. And and if it's a trusted one, then it's unusual if you're in a network that someone will ignore you. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you're in a forum, it's just in the ether. You just put it out there and just hope that someone is kind enough.
To reply.
It's potluck in that sense. So I think, but yeah, I see what you want. It's just
even on just like, it seems like what I want is actually like a mentorship kind of dynamic, like on a grand scale though.
Yeah, on a massive scale. All right, let me write this stuff down. Literally, so build an entire network of mentors.
That's what I want.
We need that.
We need it. That would be the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
That resource, that would be the best thing in the world. It's possible. These things are always possible.
Yeah.
Everything's impossible till someone does it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Maybe so.
So for me, I mean, what happened in the past happened in the past. To be honest with you, I think what I'm thinking of is where we're standing right now. And I need to be very clear that I'm in the interior design industry. Interior design is elitist. West London, Chelsea, double barrel surname, country house in Gloucestershire. So you can imagine what the diversity is. It's minimal, let's say it like this. I think the black interior designers in this country who are on that level, that's absolutely clear, who are recognized by the industry, by the magazines, in the kind of network, you can count on one hand, if at all. We had a really sad event the other day. There's a beautiful show house, and they are always hiring the best interior designers in the world. They hire black interior designers from the US because it's saying there's no talent here to showcase in these beautiful show homes, which we're actively working on. I'm not coming as an interior designer, I come in as a supplier of my products, but I'm actively working on. I have the recognition in the industry. I think it's really important for me. My team needs to represent the diversity that I see in my product and myself. Mentoring. I am absolutely happy to mentor for free. I don't need money for mentoring. I always mentor someone. At the moment, I have an intern. First, everyone comes in, and she is an absolute raw diamond. You know, when you see the potential. So working with me, first of all, I am very clear in who I hire in my team, and I think with that comes automatic mentorship. One lady, she worked with me for 2 years. I was at a stage that I had to let her go because I felt like, you have now you learned to do your own stuff. Go out there and do it.
I love that.
She was like, yeah, right, I did. She went out there, comes from a background, her parents don't even speak English. She has her own interior design company right now. Built it all by herself. I think I taught her the hard way for 2 years, like, that's how we do it. So it's really important to, for us, for you, for everyone sitting on this table, to give opportunities. I think mentorship should be part of everyone's vocabulary.
I think what you're even speaking of speaks more to apprenticeship. It sounds more like,
there was someone who's working for me,
ways.
but I think if someone works for you, apprenticeship is one thing, but if someone works with you or someone is with me, they get also mentorship in terms of emotionally telling them what I went through, telling them how they can apply themselves, teaching them life skills, because that's what it comes down to. If they are obviously
deal with the situation
exactly,
as well, in real time.
If they're specific for interior design, then I can sort them out. There's another organization here in the UK who also deals with interior design with specific apprenticeship and mentorship for black kind of up and coming designers, but also for I want to say children. They're not really children, for youngsters from underprivileged backgrounds or something like this. I'm part of a US organization. In the US, obviously, they do work on a total different level where there's no. I mean, I went to this dinner in New York in May. It's called the Black American Artists and Designers Guild, and they are cutthroat. Bad Guild. Every table costs, I think, minimum 10,000 donation from their sponsors, and that goes into mentoring, building black-owned businesses. And obviously, the black-owned businesses you have in the US in the interior design field are on a level we can only dream of here. So I'm seeing, I look up to them to get inspiration for what we can do here.
Yeah.
And I think, your platform, any platform, mentorship for me gives me, I mean, I benefit from it because I can give someone the skills that I have acquired. And it's not about look there, that's where you could do that, that's part of it, but it's like, how do you carry yourself in this highly competitive, toxic environment, which, I mean, when you come in, I mean, I myself, and I sometimes go to these events, I just want to leave. I just want to go out because I just can't be. Oh my gosh, it's really
required.
It's the energy required, and it's also it's very toxic and very daunting. Even I feel sometimes like I can do the talk and I can do the walk and I can do it, but it's hard for me. How is it going to be for someone who's not used to that environment?
Yeah.
And giving these skills, giving backup. You have a safe space here in my office. I get you. I know where you're coming from because I've been through it. It's so important. I think we should all, it should be kind of compulsory for every Black-owned brand to do something, to give back, mentor. The kids are out there. The talent is insane.
That's actually quite a good.
It's there.
way.
We should force it on. I mean, not force it, but we should. The talent is
what you speak about
insane.
What you speak on there is exactly what we as a platform want.
Yes.
Which is because for instance, as a business owner, and there's obviously professionals as well, not just business owners, professionals in general. Most of you guys have the mindset,
Yes.
and that's why you are where you are, right? And therefore, what we need to do is collate this mindset, get it together, and then get this mindset, this almost this collective brain to pass on to the next and the next and the next and continue. But I think, as I've always said, that's one thing we want to work on is the ease of that.
Yes.
Because that's where the problem is. It's a situation where you exist, for instance, but I could meet 20 people who are trying to enter that world who either don't know you or don't know how to access you. And in my head, I go, that's insane. We should change that. You know what I mean? And another thing as well, I think, and I might be wrong, Blessing, but when you're saying speaking to apprenticeship, I think that's the interesting thing is mentorship is definitely, as you both said, is something hugely important. Then from the other side, young people should be, I think, should also be thinking of apprenticeship, as in of working under someone, with someone who's in there, as opposed to just, I mean,
launching in.
but just going out into the world and seeing what's going on. If you have access, or even if you don't have access, if you know some people's in the industry, look these people up and send out those emails. Hi, is it possible?
That's so important.
I think we don't actually tell the generation coming through enough that that's how things.
That's how things are going, and I think it's because I get emails, and my team can't answer them for me. They're like, here's an email, and I get a lot of emails from young people who want to, and some of them like, I got an email from a girl the other day. She said to me, I love what you're doing. I would like to come and shadow you. Would like to do an internship over the summer, and I'm happy to work for free. I looked at her CV and I thought like, oh my gosh, she has really the skills that I would need at the moment. I called her. I was like, you know what, I would like to interview you. I love what you're doing, but one thing is for sure, I'm not gonna let you work for free because I'm gonna pay you.
Yeah,
because
I'm like that.
You know what? You don't come to me and have to work for free because that's not how it's done. Mm-hmm. She's with me at the moment. She's amazing. She's there for summer internship, gets paid, and I know that I can plant a seed somewhere in her that hopefully she will utilize
and become
and blossom because it's there and it's amazing. And I think a lot of people are thinking like there's a lot of Black entrepreneurs, hopefully. And we just need to be a little bit more forceful in making it happen, saying out there, and please people call us, or actually email us better. Email us. When my phone rings, I get distracted. My routine gets distracted. But send emails. I think people should send emails. If you see someone, I liked someone back in there, like, she's doing great stuff. There was before your time. There was a Black-owned male. Oh my gosh, my brain. It was a Black men's magazine, Untold magazine, in the late 90s. And I was at uni here, and I loved the magazine. It was so stylish. I emailed the editor and said, I really would like to do an internship. And she's like, yes, come in. They didn't pay me back then, but I was like, I'm coming. It was amazing, an amazing opportunity. And that's, go out there, drop the email, make sure it's no spelling mistakes, make sure it's professional, and people will call you back.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah, I get those already, and I'm
like
very early on in my career, but like, I think through word of mouth of people who know like what I do, I get a lot of like young people who just want to experience being on set or just assist, or they literally just want to do anything. And I don't know if there's just not enough of that for the creative industry. where young people can just go and get that experience. But I do try. Like, I'm currently not in the space to do, you know, the internships and stuff, but you know,
But someone can shadow you.
Yeah.
Someone can just
Yeah.
come and shoot with you, shadow you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Be your assistant for
yeah.
the day.
Yeah,
and-
I do.
You
get
can do that
assistance,
easily.
Yeah.
And fair enough. I love the fact that you respect your craft. You
Yeah.
have to feel like, okay, look, I'm early in my situation, but never underestimate your talent, because
Yes.
if
Exactly.
you're good, you're good. It's one thing I've learned. I mean, in my own career and stuff, I used to think to myself, oh, the person that must work here must be so amazing. They're probably
know.
doing
I
this.
used to be like
they're
this.
probably doing this and they're probably doing that. And eventually I was like, wait a minute.
I know.
I was like, wait, what? I was like, these people are getting away with murder.
I know.
There was me stressing myself every day, like, I've got to learn, I've got to make sure. And I was like, I realised that why these people are getting away with murder.
Winging it.
Literally.
And then there's you, who's actually doing the work and the talent on top of it, underestimating yourself. You know what I mean?
With the empathy.
Time is not necessarily the issue. It's about the effort and the talent that's in there. So even if you've been doing it for, all that will change is the experience. So if you've been doing it for 1 year versus 10 years, someone in 10 years is going to tell you, look, I can show you every scenario that's come. I can show you a million different things. There's things that they've experienced, but it doesn't negate the fact that you're good because you've
Exactly.
only been doing it for 2 to 3
Exactly.
years.
Yeah,
So there's lots to pass on to someone. So I think that's important for everybody. And when we're talking about humility, but that's where I stand on anyway. But
Yeah.
No, I think it's definitely one of those things that, as I said, we're seeing more and more, and we're really, really grateful that we're meeting more entrepreneurs that have this thought process. It's not just direct apprenticeships or mentoring. Some are starting charities, different organizations on the sides that are utilizing their businesses as the accelerator to creating these opportunities. And it's awesome, and it's because genuinely, I know we spoke about this before, but when you're going through something, you automatically create empathy because you're going through something. We know it's not easy. We know it takes effort, and so you recognize effort. Effort recognizes effort, and you guys are looking at each other like,
Yeah.
Yes, you go.
got you. So we're coming to the end. We've got a quick Martin, if you explain the next round.
So this is two things we do now at the end, towards the end of this podcast. Is a little segment called Prove Me Wrong. This section's called Prove Me Wrong, where myself and Alex will be playing devil's advocate, asking our hosts questions close to their heart, giving them the opportunity to navigate the tricky waters of today's whataboutism and the ignorance posted in most comment sections. Right, so this is not. Don't worry.
Now you're getting me scared. Oh my gosh.
It's not as, but these are not my views. This is me playing devil's advocate,
All right.
and I'm going to ask a question to each of you, and you'll just have to respond to it. Do you know what I mean? So don't be offended because it's not how I feel. This is just me being a bit facetious about
All
something
right,
and
okay.
asking you about something to do yourself. So, ever with you, I will say, what if I said to you, do we need a luxury black-owned brand in the current climate? Why don't we try to occupy more? I don't want to occupy spaces, but want to try more affordable and supply the masses. What's the need for a black-owned brand, especially in the luxury sector, where we're not represented that highly in the first place?
Yeah. I think, first of all, you're wrong that we're not represented in the first place. We are. And for me, I am, for example, someone, I have a nice home. I like my home to be nicely furnished. I know so many people who have the same feeling. I feel that especially when it comes to our continent, I'm speaking as our continent as a whole now. Obviously, we know the differences. Us coming from the continent, we knowing the beauty of the textiles and everything. That was not represented in the premium market, whereas we have Persian designs and Asian designs and Indian ikat print. Why should we not be there? Why should we not have a seat at the table on every level? That's what I'm here. That's what I'm going to be here. And I think my prices are definitely on the premium range, I would say. But we're everywhere. I have a lot of black clients from all over the world who, lots of us don't want to speak out. They say like, oh, I live in this beautiful house, but, I don't want to show off. And I was in the US, I saw this woman, she had this container home. Oh my goodness, it's like another level. And she's like, oh, I feel really conscious about speaking out. But I will now because you showed me that, we need to show who we are. Yeah. So why not?
Perfect.
Remember, it's not my opinion.
Gotcha. Yeah, don't worry.
Just remember, it's the thing. I'm like, just remember.
I'm not slapping. She should come and slap you.
Yeah, I know. Literally, I was like, no.
Yeah, she came with the smoke.
I know. She's like, no, but that's why we do this thing on the show, because there are people who hold these values.
Absolutely. I love it.
I want people to understand that.
Of course, that's important.
So that's great. Thank you for that. So, Blessing. So, for instance, you talked about your journey, how you were thinking you wanted to get into certain things, and you weren't going to wait for someone to give you a job. But freelance entrepreneurship. Do you know what I mean? Given how things are at the moment, why not just work a normal 9 to 5 and take your time working, especially being a black woman with the opportunities being less for you? Do you know what I mean? Why not just go through it like that? Why take the risk? Why make it harder for yourself?
Yeah, why?
That's me. That's I'm done.
I think that for me, because I have tried to run to the 9 to 5, I'm not going to lie, especially because I said to you, like, I stumbled into this. I didn't, I studied business with the intention of eventually one day owning a business, maybe 10, 15 years down the line when I've acquired the experience that I need and blah, blah, blah. But it so had it that God wanted me to start it at the time that I did. And I obliged, and it would be easier to probably, I don't know, it's still difficult for people who do 9 to 5s, but certainly it would be easier because at least there would be some kind of blueprint or structure in that environment more so than what I'm doing. But I think that the reward will be greater, and so I look to the reward.
Nice. Thank you. That's pretty cool. All right, and after that intense moment, we've got a very simple quick fire round. Okay?
All right, okay.
This is the quick fire round. No ifs, buts, or maybes. No long explanations. Just one answer. So, I'm just going to ask you some stuff. You can't ask me further questions like, what do I mean by that? Just answer it. It's just out 2 options, okay? And go for it. First question, beach or city?
City.
Oh, beach, 100%.
Both.
I'm a beach girl.
9 to 5 or 10 to 6?
10 to 6.
No, 9 to 5.
Interesting. Jollof rice or rice and peas?
Jollof rice.
Jollof.
We're Nigerians.
Rice and peas?
I have to ask.
What? What's that?
You'd be surprised. Nuclear power or fossil fuels?
Ooh, fossil fuels.
I think I have to agree with that. Nuclear power is scary.
Okay. Quality or quantity?
Quality.
Quality, 100%.
Every time.
Youth or experience?
Experience.
Ah!
Can I say experience?
It's why we ask these questions.
Yeah, I still feel like I'm a 14-year-old. Youth.
You can say
Okay.
what you feel.
I don't know.
Youth goes, experience stays. Youth grows. Youth kind of fades and experience grows.
It's fine. It's
But it's mine, that's me.
It's everyone's opinion. Don't worry, it's just quick
But
fire.
enjoy your
I mean,
youth.
are they opposites?
That's why I asked them. They're not necessarily opposite.
Okay.
It's just which one would you choose.
Okay.
It's quick fire. Don't worry. And academia or apprenticeship?
Apprenticeship for me.
Yes, this is why I asked these things.
Now I'm struggling.
That's why I asked these.
I see I'm there, the old school comes in.
You can't ask anything else. Just have to answer the questions. One word.
Academia.
Okay, perfect. Private or public?
Private.
Private.
Sustainability or low cost?
Sustainability.
YouTube or Netflix?
YouTube.
Netflix.
Interesting. Brick and mortar or online?
Online.
100% online.
Interesting. Last couple now, I think. Is city or countryside?
City.
I said beach earlier.
City or countryside? So this is different ideas. So city or countryside.
Now we have city.
Okay. And the last one, it's a bit random. Bank or alternative finance?
Bank.
The Africans, yeah?
Oh, trust that.
Exactly. Use
Perfect,
experience,
guys.
forget about it, we go to the bank.
Thank you, guys.
Amazing.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's
It was
actually
so much. It was so much fun.
I love that.
Seriously,
That's
it's
very
so much-
telling, actually.
I know.
It's a great thing to do because it's such an interesting and honestly, guest to guest, it's so different. It is so
Did he
so
ask the
different.
questions every
Yep,
time?
every
Oh
single
my god, I
time.
can't wait to hear the others.
Yeah. So I guess it's very, very different, but it's brilliant. Thank you for that.
No, thank you. It was
really
amazing.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So this has been another BOLO Business Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, for sharing the stories. We hope you got something out of it. I know we did, definitely, and we definitely know that people out there watching or listening will get something out of everything you had to share today. Just really appreciative for you to have taken your time to share it with us. So thank you once again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for having us. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the BOLO Business Podcast. Remember, the journey doesn't end here. We encourage you to carry these conversations forward, share your thoughts with us on social media, and most importantly, apply the insights gained today in your own spheres of influence. Stay tuned for more compelling discussions that transcend boundaries, bridge cultures, and celebrate the richness of diversity. Please subscribe, share, and until next time, this is the BOLO Business Podcast, signing off.